Abel LeBlanc is still quiet since his finger spoke volumes.
If you want to go outside.
Vancouver's shining moment draws closer. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. We have lots of local news for you tonight, including more from Plaster Rock and the World Pond Hockey Tournament. That is coming up. But first, let's get back to our top story tonight. It's a political timeout for St. John MLA Abel LeBlanc. Speaker Roy Boudreau suspended LeBlanc for 3 days. Punishment for the former longshoreman's emotional outburst, rude gestures, and his refusal to apologize. Susan King reports.
Speaker Roy Boudreau's first order of business today to deal with what happened yesterday. St. John Lancaster MLA Abel LeBlanc went beyond the usual taunts in the legislature to this.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Dale, I'll walk outside with any one of you here. Don't ever laugh at me. Yes, I gave you that, and I'll give you that again, and I'll give you this if you want to go outside. You're a punk.
LeBlanc was expelled for the rest of the day. Today, the Speaker suspended LeBlanc for 3 days without pay. Inside and outside the legislative chamber, Boudreau was blunt. LeBlanc's actions were ridiculous and cannot be tolerated.
When he showed his fist to the gallery, I mean, you just don't do that. We're supposed to, like I said a while ago, we're supposed to be there with respect and dignity and decorum. And I mean, the decorum just flew out the window as soon as he started answering back.
Margaret Ann Blaney, the Conservative MLA who was the target of his outburst, didn't really want to talk about it.
It was a very uncomfortable time, and I would describe it as, as awful. I really want to talk about the issues. I do. I don't want to comment any further on it.
But people in LeBlanc's riding of St. John Lancaster wanted to comment. Many know the former longshoreman and know that he doesn't mince words.
Well, he spoke his mind. That's one thing about Abel. He always speaks his mind. And if you don't like it, don't listen to it. Right, Blaine?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's Abel standing up for what he believes. And here in the Lancaster riding, we support what Abel believes.
Others say he went too far.
I like Abel, but I disagree with him doing that.
I think it's disgusting for any man to stand up and take his middle fingers, and especially when you have women in the house, to go to work and do such things as he did. I don't think he should be in the caucus. I don't think he should be in Parliament.
LeBlanc kept a low profile today, staying in his riding and not speaking to the media. When he returns to the legislature next week, Speaker Roy Boudreau is expecting an apology. Susan King, CBC News, Fredericton.
Okay, staying with this story tonight, let's bring in our provincial affairs reporter, Jacques Poitras. He's been following all of the MLAs, including Abel LeBlanc, for years. And Jacques, we know Abel LeBlanc speaks his mind. This is not the first time he's been in hot water for it either. But we heard in that item how some people in his riding really love him for it, no matter what he says. So can you give us some insight into his reputation?
Well, I mean, he's the former head of the Longshoremen's Union in St. John, and he's, he's done some rabble-rousing in his days, and occasionally he slips back into that mode. Everyone, believes that his heart is in the right place. One time in the legislature, he accidentally, mistakenly referred to himself being in a union hall instead of in the legislature, so that kind of tells you how his mind works. But, he's a sincere guy and speaks his mind, and in this case, obviously, it just went too far.
Well, that incident in the legislature yesterday, it almost seemed like there was a lot of emotion there for Abel LeBlanc as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to excuse what happened or justify it, but, at one point he said, don't you laugh at me. And, there are some members who kind of, I think, look down on him and think of him as somewhat rough around the edges and unsophisticated. And I think that is what may have set him off there. But again, he went too far in responding to it, obviously.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens next week when he is allowed back in the legislature again. Thanks for that, Jacques.
Thanks, Jen.